Hello everyone, today we're going to continue with Geometer Sketchpad explorations and study a design that I'm going to call Hypnotic squares. You can see it here. It looks a very complicated design, but as you'll see, there's a very simple principle behind it, and we're going to be able to create some cool things with it. So please use Geometer Sketchpad 5.0 or higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a blank page for myself. And the idea behind it is we're going to create, first of all, a square. So let's actually review how we can do that. Go to the segment tool and create a segment. And I'm going to just make it a little bit thicker so you can see it better. We can adjust all thicknesses later. And what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this segment around this point that I'm going to double click. It does this boing thing. I'm going to select the segment. I'm going to rotate by 90 degrees. It always gives you a preview. So here it is. And then I'm going to double click on this point to declare it as the center of rotation and select this segment and its other endpoint. And the last side of the square, I recommend that you just connect it with a segment using the segment tool. Okay, so here's a square that we have created, and the ancestors of the square are the lower 2 points. So this point on the left and this point on the right. Once you have those 2 points, everything else is constructed. The other thing that I'm going to need, so I might as well create a tool for it. I'm going to need to understand how to dilate a segment by a particular amount. Remember, dilation means shrinking or enlarging something. So let's remember, I should say, how to dilate this segment by 1/10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this endpoint, and I'm going to select the other endpoint, go to transform dilate, and let's remove this so you can see what's happening. Here is a scale factor of 1/2 by default. Let's change that to 1/10. And as you can see, here is our 1/10 dilation. So this point got shrunk towards this other point by a scale factor of 1/10. The distance is now 1/10. It's 1/10 closer. So what I do is I select the segment. I go to create new tool, and I'm going to call this a 1/10 dilation. Okay, and I go and test my tool. Oops, I had another tool there, this similar name. And what it does is it basically replicates this process. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use our 1/10 dilation on this segment, and then let me think about that for a second, and then on this segment right here. And what this does is it allows us to be able to shrink the original segment, and you'll see that spiraling effect that you saw originally. Okay, once you have done this, we are ready. So what we're going to do is an iteration right now. And you may remember, if you watch the fractal videos, iteration is basically a process that is repeated again and again. And to activate that in the transform menu right now, it's inactive. To activate the iteration, you need to find the ancestors of your construction. Remember, the left endpoint and the right endpoint is what created everything else. You go to transform, iterate, just woke up. And now I kind of want you to tilt your head so you can see it better. It's asking you, what is the new left, right? This is going to be my new left. This is going to be my new right. When I do that, you already see an iteration starting to happen. I'm going to increase the iteration. It's the plus button. You can manually do this, or I believe if you press shift and plus sign, that's the way to increase more iterations. I would continue this only until you sort of like see it closed, but not too much more. Because you have so many structures here, it is important to go to structure and select only the non-point images. Otherwise the points get a little bit distracting. So you see it's much clearer now, and I'm going to hit iterate, and it's now completed. The last thing I'm going to do before I turn this into a tool is I want to hide this point and that point, just for the sake of cleanliness. And I personally like to have all the lines thinner. You could decide what you like. And I believe we are ready to create a tool. You could, by the way, decide on a color. Because in a minute we're going to be working with a background of black, so I'm just going to have the color to be something. Let's try this cool green. Okay, so I'm going to create a tool. So go to your, again, custom tools, create new tool. Let's call this the green Hypno square. And then you could use this tool, and actually for maximum effect, let's actually color our background. So go to edit, preferences, let's color our background to black. I think for maximum effect it will be better. Now let's find our green Hypno square, and if you remember, it goes from left to right and it opens. And now you could sort of use it to weave a structure here. Let's just pull this somewhere more central so we can see it better. And then keep using your tool to basically complete this. And it's important to start from a point and land back on a point. Okay, so here is something cool you can do. I'm sure there are other cool things you can try, such as once you have one of these, you could imagine what would happen if you took your tool again, but did something on top of it, but maybe opening in a different direction. Let me see if I can succeed. Let me just do it again, this time from here to there, for example. From here to there. You can see how you can start composing really complicated things, and there is this fascinating thing about superimposition that you can really get some amazing things. All right, in the future lessons we'll see how to create similar hypnotic structures, spiraling structures, but not using a square, but using different polygons. So it might be fun for you to explore if you could do some of these things on your own before we go and do those lessons. Alrighty, I hope you had a good time. Enjoy.